what would we like to look like as an industry in 2040? And that's the next step. That's what we're going to be talking about today. From there, we will then have a number of ambitions, and we're anticipating a number of innovation work streams which will actually start to crack and develop some of those ambitions and crack some of the key challenges. So we want very practical outcomes, and that will start to happen end of next year, beginning of 2012.
I'm just very briefly going to touch on a little equation here which is extremely well known to sustainability wonks, those people who spend their life like me doing sustainability. It goes back to the late 1960s, and all it tells us is that environmental impact, the impact on the natural systems, is a function of three variables: population, affluence, or per capita consumption, and technology. Very simple, quite important, because all of these variables, of course, are subject to enormous change. So we're going to see a vast increase in renewable energy. And I just thought, because of the conversation we had last night, it might be important to remind you about what's going on in the clean tech world. There are still some people who think that clean tech and renewable energy is a little small niche market on the side of all those really big energy players doing nuclear, coal, oil, gas, etc. Well, again, dispel that assumption from your mind forever. It is a really stupid assumption. A really stupid assumption. Renewable energy is the fastest growing source of energy in the global economy, and it is growing very fast in places where you might not expect. So, what does that statistic relate to? Well, it relates to 1 year's worth. 1 year's worth of investment in renewable and clean tech in China. That's the figure for 2010. It won't be much different for 2011. And there are a lot of assumptions around China in this industry, we've noticed as we've talked to people about China, most of which are, in our opinion, completely misplaced. The likelihood is that China will lead the world into a low-carbon, sustainable future, not Europe, not America, not any other part of the world, for reasons to do with their own strategic priorities and their own sense of the scale of the technologies involved. So they're not doing all of this out of a love of renewable energy. They're doing this because they can see multi-trillion-dollar markets, multi-billion-dollar markets emerging in the near future around clean tech. And guess what? China's the only country in the world that has a formal target for the percentage of that global market that it wants. It wants no less than 40 and up to 60% of the clean tech market by 2030. That ends up in three key challenges about which there is no dispute. Navigating a dramatically changing economic context, that's a given, we know that. Increased scrutiny, both from regulators and stakeholders, both market-driven scrutiny and regulatory and governmental scrutiny, that's a given. And of course, increased or growing pressure to respond to changes in energy markets, climate change, and other sustainability issues. It's quite a powerful convergence of forces, which, of course, lies behind this call for action and the need for a vision for this industry over the course of the next 2 or 3 decades.